Hello, it's Honey. Just here to do an 8th update video on my transition since starting HRT. Today I've got a lot to talk about besides HRT at the moment. With that, I've had my blood work done and I'm just waiting for the doctor to get back to me with the results and whether or not any adjustments are going to be made to my medication in March. So everything's rolling on as normal with those. Once I find out those results, as long as it is before the 22nd of February, I might film a further bit to tack on to the end of this video about, the results and progress being made or not being made, and what's going to happen with my medications. But today I mostly want to talk about other areas of my transition which involve, last month I said I had a voice coach and I was waiting for an appointment. I've got my first appointment, that'll be for the 21st of March, so that's over 5 weeks away from the point of filming this video. Five and a half weeks I think at least, but nevertheless it's booked and it's happening, which is exciting. Also on other fronts, and this will have to be an entire video of its own once I can gauge more how it's all gone, and that's I've started to come out at work. Now what I've done is a manager came down last week anyway for a standard sort of catch up. I told them in private and in confidence what's going on with me and my plan for going forward, which at this stage I've put together basically a folder or a pack in an A4 envelope of everything to do with my transition that's going to be relevant to them, in terms of letters I've had from the gender clinic, appointments like for the voice therapy, a supporting letter from my doctor in Wales, which is actually to do with my passport, but we'll move on to that in a minute. But that evidence, a supporting letter from the sites, and I don't want to go into the specifics of what I do for a living, but of the sites where I work, and the fact that the locations that I work at for my company don't have a problem with it, so there's no impact on my employer's business from that point of view. And I also put in there just general information that I printed off from a transgender transitioning at work sort of website, with information regarding both the legal side of things, what laws I'm protected by, the 2010 Equality Act. And anyway, this is all going to be in its own separate video. I will show you the pack. When I've got this pack completed, I will call him down via email or phone call or whatever and arrange a formal meeting to discuss this properly and make the higher ups, the company directors, HR, etc., aware. But there's no point at the moment because I haven't got all my information together in terms of like IDs and everything, and until that happens, there's no point in me jumping the gun. Next thing, or the main thing I want to talk about, in order to complete said pack I need IDs, which is what I've been dealing with mostly since getting my depot, which I showed you last month. I've been off trying to get my IDs etc. changed. Now I've spoken with my bank, that's fairly straightforward. I just take in a copy of my depot and they will change my name and title and everything else after they've taken a copy of that, and it should all be fairly straightforward, and I should get my new bank cards issued within a matter of days. So I'm actually holding off on that for now until I have had that formal discussion with the company, just so that there's no surprises when they go to pay my wages in or anything stupid like that, and then the cat's out of the bag before I was ready. In the meantime, the IDs I've been trying to get together is DVLA. I'm trying to change out my UK driving licence, and again all this is going to be related to UK IDs, etc, etc. I pass all this on in the hopes that, you know, either I get it right first time and you can just copy what I do, or if I make mistakes that you guys can watch what I've done and, you know, get feedback and hear that, you know, don't do it like this, etc. In here I've got a copy of the UK D1 forms, which is a standard driving licence application form. You don't actually have to do too much in order to change it. Now obviously I'm not going to show you any personal details, but I have completed the form. Send off your original driving licence, which I've enclosed in the envelope. If you are changing your photo, which of course I am changing my photo ID, then you have to enclose a cheque or postal order for £17 in order for them to reissue a photo driving licence that's been updated. In terms of actual name change and that, it's relatively straightforward. You can find videos online about how to do this. There's also a transgender webpage which gives you links back to the gov.gov webpage which tells you how to do all this. So it's relatively straightforward. Because of that, I had to use one of those pictures I showed you last time on the back of the document here, which shows that I've got an updated photo ID in there, and that, you know, that the likeness on the front is relevant to me. And yeah, it's literally a one-page form. It's not that difficult. You basically, section 1, you fill in why you're changing. There's a list, you fill in tick boxes which you just use black ink and put an X in the box to represent which one you're selecting. You put the reason down for why you change, for why you want your driving license changed. In my case it's a name change. You write your new name and date of birth, etc, your current address, and then under that there's a section for filling in previous names and details below. So in that box I've obviously put my old name and my old title. I have changed my title via default legally as well, so I am Miss, not Mr. So, you know, I'm getting that done at the same time. You just answer what country of origin you're originally from. Standard health questions about eyesight, heart conditions, seizures, etc, etc. Obviously that's not relevant to whether or not you're transgender. I suppose what would be relevant is whether or not you had to list medications that you're on, which you don't. Obviously being transgender on HRT, you know, if there was issues there, you know, we'd obviously have a list, but there isn't anything like that on there, so that's fine. If you're changing your photo ID, then you have to have a picture which is current and up to date and signed on the back by somebody who's not related to you. They have to fill out section 6, which is their name, address, their postcode, their profession. They sign and date, and actually they've done the same on the back of your picture, so it's obvious that it was the same person that viewed your picture is the same person that's signing the documentation. Also enclosed in there is a certified copy of my depot. I did manage after last time to get my extra 2 copies done and returned to me, so I have 3 copies now. 1 copy is going in here, 1 copy is going to my employer, and the original is going away with my passport, which we'll talk about shortly. So that's all 3 copies of my depot out at the moment. The one from my employer, I'll get that back when I have that official meeting. They will view it, they'll sign off on it, and then I'll have it back immediately. And once they've seen it, then that is when I'll go down the bank and get my name and details changed for my bank cards and everything else. So as I say, in that envelope it's just my depot, driving licence, photo ID, completed D1 form, and a postal order cheque for £17. Next on to passport. In my case, I don't know what it's going to be for you guys obviously, but I can only speak about myself. In my case, I already had a passport, so under this I'm applying for a renewal. I believe that is £72.50 for a replacement passport. If you want everything checked checked and sent by the post office in advance, so that you don't waste time discovering you've made a mistake, then they charge an additional £9.75 for that service. But they do send everything out and back first class recorded delivery as well, which would cost you £7 anyway, so actually they're checking your paperwork for you for £2.75, so it's not bad. In there's a form. Again, it's actually surprisingly short. I wouldn't say it's easy. It is only a 2-page document. Obviously I'll just cover up private details on the back here, but this is what one looks like. It's a standard passport application form, and as you can see, it's just a standard form, nothing special about it. There's a little booklet that comes with the form that tells you what sections to fill in depending on what you're doing, whether it's a renewal, replacement, whether you're applying for a kid's passport, etc, etc. Fill in the relevant sections. Now, as far as being transgender goes, there is a supplemental booklet which you can get off the web, which is 4 pages long. I'll see if I can include a link to it in the description, but it's a little supplemental booklet which basically just states not a lot really. It just makes it clear that where it says about name change, previous names and all the rest of it, what to write and where. Again, if you'd already changed your name, it's actually like if you were getting married or anything like that, it's still the same procedure. Nothing changes. The only thing that changes is proof of ID for it, and if you're changing your gender as well. I had to fill in section 1, 2, 3 and 9 for me. If you are under 16, then you'll need to fill in sections 4, 5 and 6 as well, because you'll need an adult or your parent to help you complete the form and that, so you have to do sections 4 and 6 as well. But if you're over 16, then you can apply for a passport, an adult passport basically. Just follow the booklet's instructions on how to fill things in. Make sure you read that supplemental section. Included in the envelope for this one to go back, and here's the envelope. It's basically half A4 size, it's at A5. If you have a passport, you must return the original passport with your application form. The section in there, I think it was section 3, deals with, yes, section 3 deals with existing passports, and you just put your passport number in, how many passports you're returning, etc, etc. So application form, passport, you need 2 passport quality ID photos, which are the ones I showed you last time. Again, one of them has to be signed or countersigned as proof of who you are. There is specific wording that has to go on the back of it for your passport. I certify that this is a true likeness of person's given name. Yeah, they have to sign and dated it within 2 months of the date of this application. So you send off 2 ID photos, as I said. One of them has to be signed, one of them doesn't. Because you've changed your name anyway, same as anyone else, you need to send in a copy of your deed poll, which you saw it last time, so you know what that looks like. But there's a copy of the original copy of my deed poll is going in there. If you wish to apply for, and this is an important bit, a passport in your acquired gender, as they call it, rather than your birth gender, then that's perfectly fine. There's 1 of 3 things that are acceptable for that: a gender recognition certificate, a letter of support from your doctor stating that they support your application for a passport as a female or male if you're going the other way, and that they believe based on their diagnosis of you, that you will continue to live your life in your acquired gender, as they call it on these documents. So once you've got that letter of support from your doctor, hopefully it should be relatively straightforward. Otherwise you need a gender recognition certificate, or I believe the other thing which was applicable was, there will be a list in the video. I'll put a list down the side of the video of what items are required on screen. I've got my letter of support from my doctor in Wales, which basically states that it's quite a straightforward letter. It just says dated for the 1st of this month, to whom it may concern. I believe that Hayley Louise, my surname, previously known, my old name, at such and such address. Hayley is currently holds a male passport and wishes to change it to a female passport to reflect her female gender status. In support of Hayley's wishes to change her passport details, we are writing to confirm that she has been under our services since January 2016. Hayley is biologically male who fulfills the criteria for diagnosis as gender dysphoria, and in Hayley's case the condition is characterised, I'm not going to go on and on, but she's confirming that I have gender dysphoria, and in her opinion I will continue to go on and live my life in a female capacity. Hayley has changed her name via depol, and in my opinion and this is the relevant bit, and in my opinion is highly likely that she will continue to live in a female role permanently, and therefore it is appropriate for her to request a passport that reflects this. If you have any further information, any further questions, do not hesitate to contact us further. And then obviously she's signed off on that. So that hopefully will be all that's required. So just letter of support from my doctor in my case, or a gender recognition certificate if you already have one of those. So if you have, you'll probably post off, or you can do it via the courts, which is how I'll have to do it eventually, but one step at a time. You have to have lived for 2 full years in your new acquired gender, shall we say, to even be considered for that. So I've got a ways to go before that one happens. But just to sum up one last time: standard passport application form, 2 forms of photo ID, one signed, one not, copy of your depol, hopefully with your new name and title status, so that at the very least those will be changed. Even if they don't change my gender, they'll have to still send it back to me with Miss and my new name on it. And hopefully with the letter of support from my doctor, I've signed off on the forms as gender as female, and hopefully with this letter they will accept that and issue me a female ID'd passport. And that is it basically. Most of these things say to allow 3 weeks, especially the driving licence. That basically says don't bother contacting us any sooner than 3 weeks to a month. Obviously I hope it doesn't take that long, because the longer it takes, the longer it will be before I can have that conversation with my or that formal conversation with my company. I've got to go and see the same person again that signed my depol and my photos, and get them to sign the DVLA application and the passport application for me. So that's what I'm waiting on at the moment, because they're not available till next Tuesday. Hopefully as soon as I've seen them, I can get down to the post office, get these sent off, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to have these back with everything and no glitches, no problems for the 7th of March. I will call for my meeting with work shortly after that. Once I've officially gone through the process at work, I will show you the pack that I created. Again, there's no official pack, it's just something I've decided that the best way to come at this is to be organised. So I've put together a pack, as I say, of things that I hope will make things as easy and as smooth as possible, and yeah, if all goes well, and even if it doesn't, I'll let you know either way, and I will show you the pack I've put together. Again, I do this in the hopes that, if it all goes well, you guys can just copy me and it will go similar for you. And if it doesn't go so well, then you guys can listen to my further updates, find out the mistakes that I've made and avoid them. So again, thank you very much for listening, and I might tack on another update to this video before the end of the month. If you see me again, then I did. If you don't, I didn't. Bye! Hi, it's Honey. I just wanted to film this update, tag along to my first part of this video about things like my blood results, and that they've come back from the doctors and she's happy with the way things are progressing. So basically it's going to be carry on the same as I was before for the previous 12 weeks, carry on for another 12 weeks before review again. So at the moment I'm currently taking 5 milligrams of finasteride daily, and I'm also on 2 Everroll patches for my HRT, a 100 patch and a 50 patch, each delivering one 6.4 milligrams of Isodril and the other one's 3.2 milligrams of Isodril. I'm on 2 of them at the same time twice a week, so 4 patches a week basically. In terms of my IDs, to carry on with the follow-up to that, my driving licence has now gone off. I don't anticipate any problems with it. I got it all signed and everything, as you saw in my video, ready to go. That's been sent off. Hopefully I'll get that back for around about the 7th of March, that's what I'm hoping. I'm not going to hold my breath, but that's what I'm hoping. And then there was a bit of a hiccup with my passport. I took that to my lawyer, the same lawyer that signed my driving licence, etc. And there wasn't, and after she had written on the paperwork all her details, she then decided, oh, she better check to see, and I'm not knocking her, she then, she did her job, she decided to see actually how long I had been on her books, and unfortunately we came up about 3 months short. She'd actually only known me since May 2015. Obviously I'm filming this in February 2017, so short of the 2 years that's required by that much. But I've had to get all my paperwork back to do with that, and then obviously fill out a new application form and find somebody else to sign it. That's been completed now, and it's also been sent on its merry way. I won't know, obviously this has caused about a 1-week delay compared to the other one, so I probably won't get my passport back until mid-March. I could really do with it back before I go away for my birthday in March, but I don't really need my passport to travel. I live in the UK, I'm only going across the border to Wales, and you don't need a passport if you're a UK citizen to travel within the UK, so obviously, so it's not a problem. But I wanted to have it with me just because I'm really excited about my passport. It's going to be the first bit of ID, hopefully, that comes back as long as they accept my doctor's supporting letter. It's going to be the first bit of photo ID to come back with an actual female gender tag attached to it. So obviously I'm excited to have that in my possession. So a little bit gutting that that didn't get sent off quite as quick, but things are happening step by step. More to come on the work front as soon as I know what's happening there. There has been a little bit of a development with my work. They're changing things and it's colliding with this perfectly, in not a good way. So I've got to find a workaround for that, literally. Anyway, I just wanted to add those points on, that basically make sure you've got your 2 years for sure before you send off these sort of documents. If it's 2 years on your passport, and the other one actually on your driving licence is actually just a picture that's been taken in the last 6 months, and they're just signing that one to say that the picture's actually a relevant likeness to you in the last 6 months, so not anything to do with how long they've known you. Whereas the passport, obviously they've had to have known you for 2 years, and just double check that you've got that, because if you haven't, they go away and it all comes bouncing back. Right, thank you very much. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope that this always proves of some use to you. Bye.